Hey, gang, welcome back to Take Time to Think. In today's episode, part three, we're going to talk about our priorities, which is the first of a two-part discussion on priorities. Again, my name is Ted Studdard. I'm a retired Marine Colonel, and I'm working in conjunction with the Marine Corps University Foundation and the Marine Corps University Alumni Association to bring you this short four-part series called Take Time to Think. As we look back at part two, I would ask you to pause. If you've not downloaded the free Take Time to Think workbook, go to the website on the screen and download your free copy so you can track along and take notes as we have our discussion. In part two, when we talked about laying our foundation, we talked about our family, our values, and our finances to make sure that we had a good foundation so that we could have an efficient and effective transition. Guys, if you haven't had that discussion with your family, please have that discussion now. We need to have an accurate sight picture as we move forward, and this foundation provides that sight picture. But let's now look at part three. And in part three, we begin our discussion on priorities. There's 6 elements that I think you need to prioritize in preparation for your transition. We'll talk about 3 of these elements today, and then in part 4, we'll talk about the remaining 3. Today, we're going to talk about location, company, and role or title. And again, guys, the goal of part 3 and part 4 is to put these 6 priorities in rank order for you, so you can see what's most important to you and your family, and that will help guide your transition and what you do, looking for a job, where you live, etc., moving forward. There's no right or wrong answer here. You just need to have the discussion with your family and make sure that your family is aligned with these priorities. So let's dive in. The first consideration is location. If you're like our family, we lived all over the place. We moved and we lived in many different houses and many different locations. And we found that we were able to make a home anywhere we live. And most of you are in the same boat. If you're in that boat and it's hard to figure out where you really want to live, maybe you start to push out some of those places that you don't want to live. And if you can do that, at least it helps you start to narrow your discussion on places that you want to focus on. As you're starting to focus on location and where that racks and stacks in your personal set of priorities, think about your family. Do you have aging parents? Do you have opportunities with family that you want to grow? Or do you have family obligations that you need to meet? You also need to look at the locations and what industries and what companies are there, or maybe what entrepreneurial activities are available for you there. You know, if location is your number one priority, you need to make a holistic look to make sure that it fits your family needs and you can support your family living in this location. And lastly, think about how long you need to be in a location. Many people want to stay in a certain location so their kids can get through school. And that is a thing that I think we've all thought about or all been part of to this point. If that's the case, then location might absolutely be your number one priority. The next thing we want to consider is company. You know, so many people have a certain company or organization that they want to work for or with, and that is absolutely fantastic. But consider the company's locations. Do their locations coincide with locations that are amenable to you and your family? Do your values match? Both your personal values and your professional values. Are they in sync with this company? Does the company have growth opportunities for you? And you need to consider, if you do get an opportunity with this company, are you willing to take a role that may be a little bit lower than what you had anticipated just to get your foot in the door? Again, there's no right or wrong answer, but these are some things that you need to consider. Lastly, I would submit to you, a lot of your larger companies give you an opportunity to move in the company in different parts of the business. For example, in my company that I'm with right now, Home Depot, I've had a chance to work in field operations. I've had a chance to work in business-to-business operations, talent acquisition, and training. I really didn't know what I wanted to do when I retired from the Marine Corps. So working in these different elements of the company has helped me understand, A, how the company works together, but it's also given me a great education in different parts of the company and where I would like to invest my time and efforts going forward. So just some things that you need to consider or may want to consider when it regards a company or an organization that you want to join. The last thing that we will talk about today, as far as priorities are concerned, is role and title. So many of us think that we need to have a certain role or title, and that's where we start to focus our search. And that is absolutely understandable, and that is absolutely fine. But understand that certain roles and titles in one company or one industry don't always equate to the same role and title in another company or another industry. And the same holds true for compensation. So when you're racking and stacking your priorities, make sure that you take in a full scope of these considerations and understand that role and title here doesn't always equate to a role and title there. And again, sometimes you might need to take a step back in order to grow in an organization so you can get to that specific role or title that you want. You may not step directly into it. So just understand this as you're racking and stacking your priorities. Guys, to summarize part 3, location, company, role, and title. Think about all the things that impact each of these decisions and impact each of these potential priorities for you. Again, it's always great to talk to you. If you have any comments, any questions, concerns, or if you just want to reach out just to have a conversation, you can always reach me here. And I look forward to the next time we get a chance to speak. Have a great day.